Can slip in a question here about Elon Musk. You know, on the one hand, the government has sort of rolled out the red carpet with respect to Starlink, but on the other hand, we are also seeing a very fierce battle where Elon Musk's ex has sued the Indian government in court because of the Sahyog portal. As the nodal minister, where do you stand on this?
Listen, this is not the first time that social media platforms have filed cases or suits against government. It's a very common thing, and ultimately every company, whichever company, has to work within the framework of the constitution and the framework of the laws that are passed by the parliament.
Talking about social media, sir, do you think the scope of the broadcast bill needs to be widened to also look at influencers, content creators, considering what happened recently with the whole Ranveer, Allahbadia and Samay, Raina episode?
See, end of the day, we must understand that we are all living in a society. We are all living in a particular cultural context. We are all having friends, neighbors, children. Everybody is connected with each other. So we must, as users of technology, whether we are content creators or we are consumers of technology, we should understand what is our responsibility, and we should try to be, I would say, as a citizen or as a user, we should try and see what my own boundaries should be. I should be able to define that and work within that. Making, let's say, if you are in your own living room, 4 or 5 persons, those jokes would be very different from a platform where you are basically broadcasting to the entire world what you want to say. Then we must understand that we are living in a social context, and I would say that we should understand that as a social responsibility.
अश्विनी जी, आपकी सरकार ने मेक इन इंडिया पर बहुत जोर दिया है. इस वक्त काफ़ी अस्थिरता का दौर है ग्लोबल मार्केट्स में और कई चीज़ों को लेकर काफ़ी अनस्टेबिलिटी है, अनसर्टेनिटी है. चाइना से सप्लाई लाइंस शिफ्ट करने की जो बात है, इंडिया को चाइना +1 स्ट्रैटेजी, इंडिया उस आपके हिसाब से हाउ वेल प्लेस्ड इज इंडिया टू बेनिफिट फ्रॉम द करंट सिचुएशन और विद द शिफ्टिंग ऑफ सप्लाई लाइन फ्रॉम चाइना टू इंडिया?
आप अगर पिछले 10 वर्षों की जर्नी देखो तो यू गेट द आंसर. इन 10 वर्षों में इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स मैन्युफैक्चरिंग हैज ग्रोन 5 times. इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स एक्सपोर्ट्स हैव ग्रोन 6 times. 5 गुना यानी 17% CAGR से ग्रो हुई है 10 साल में, डिस्पाइट द 2 कोविड ईयर्स. आई एम सेइंग एक्सपोर्ट्स 20% प्लस CAGR ग्रोथ हुई है, एंड इट्स इंक्रीजिंग एट द सेम पेस और एट अ फास्टर पेस. अभी रिसेंटली वी अनाउंस द इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स कंपोनेंट स्कीम. इससे पहले हार्डवेयर, मोबाइल फोन, and the ecosystem is deepening so well. What gives more satisfaction is that many of the manufacturers are now setting up their design houses. There is one manufacturer who has set up a design team, and that design team has designed a laptop which they showed to me recently. Then I showed that laptop to one of the big IT companies ka CEO, and that CEO basically said that he didn't believe that this is made in India, this is made in Taiwan, is what he said. And that is the kind of quality that our people are manufacturing and designing today. So that's a reality today, and that's going to grow. More than 400 companies are there which are there in the, I'm saying the major ones. There are many more smaller MSME units which are there, which are part of the ecosystem. So combine our stable policies that our Prime Minister has shown us a clear vision, the availability of design talent, and our focused way of implementing that policy, we are bound to grow in the coming days.
Mr. Vaishnaw, you mentioned the scheme for electronic components. The Union Cabinet last week approved over about 22,000 crores of PLI for electronic manufacturing. Overall, as I understand it, across 14 sectors, about 1.6 lakh crore of investment will come in on through the PLI route. But how do you react to criticism by those like Raghuram Rajan, who argue that the PLI scheme essentially just subsidizes a whole bunch of foreign investors?
See, I always take any criticism which comes very constructively, but what I would like to share with you is every country which got into electronics manufacturing, every country, take any name, they all started the same process, whether it is South Korea, it's Vietnam, it's China, it's Japan in the early phases after the Second World War. Most countries had a similar phase, and especially in the last 30-40 years, you start with manufacturing of the finished goods, then you go to the modules, then you go to the components, and we are exactly following that same trajectory. We started with finished goods, now we are into and we already do modules, now we are already in the component stage. The highest possible domestic value addition that any country has shown is in the range of 38% after 30, 40, 35 years of working in that sector. Within very small time span of 10, 11 years, we have already reached 20% plus. And we are going to double this in the coming 5 years. So it's a very systematic, methodical journey. And to the critics, I would like to point out, electronics manufacturing is today giving good, meaningful employment to 25 lakh people. And some of these employment, and a large number of this employment, is for young women coming from rural areas with very little education, but very good, strong determination to make a difference, to work in sophisticated technologies. I like to give an example where I visited one of the factories, one of the plants. The girl was from a village of Bihar, and she said that when she goes back to the village, गांव जब वापस जाती है, तो गांव के प्रधान से ज्यादा इज्जत उसको मिलती है, क्योंकि जब वो बताती है कि मैं मोबाइल फोन मैन्युफैक्चर करती हूं. It's a very touching human thing.
That's an amazing anecdote, Mr. Vaishnaw. I just wanted to also ask you about phone manufacturers, right? So some of the biggest phone manufacturers in India are Chinese makers like Oppo and Vivo, more than Apple in India sales. So would they be eligible for PLI? There have been reports that the government has encouraged these companies to enter into joint ventures with Indian companies. How is this going to work?
Listen, any country or any company which wants to come and work in India, they have full freedom to work, and companies generally prefer joint venture mode when they want to go up the learning curve at a faster pace.
Ashwini ji, the Katra Srinagar Vande Bharat will be inaugurated by the Prime Minister in next 9-10 days or so. How symbolic is this in the idea of India? And also on the Vande Bharat project overall, at last count करीब 136 Vande Bharat चल चुकी हैं. ये नंबर कहाँ तक जाएगा?
नहीं, ऑलरेडी 118 या उससे ज्यादा सर्विसेज ऑलरेडी चल रही है. 36 कहाँ?
136 में कह रहा था.
हाँ, 136 अभी चल रही है. एंड मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इज कंटिन्यूअसली हैपनिंग. सो आई थिंक दैट्स, एंड पीपल लाइक इट. Some of the parameters, Vande Bharat is actually better than some of the best trains in the country, as you are aware. Acceleration pay, noise level inside the train, the vibration levels. That's because the design has been done with lot of thought in it. देखिए, कश्मीर और जम्मू को, श्रीनगर को और जम्मू को जोड़ने का, ये रेल से जोड़ने का, ये एक बहुत बड़ा सपना है देश का. और इस सपने को प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने अपनी बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग संकल्प के साथ, दिस इज अ प्रोजेक्ट विच रिक्वायर्ड ट्रेमेंडस टेनेसिटी, ट्रेमेंडस डिजाइन वर्क, lots and lots of engineering inputs were there. It's a very difficult project, but ये प्रधानमंत्री जी का पॉलिटिकल विल पावर है, पॉलिटिकल क्लैरिटी है, जिसके कारण ये प्रोजेक्ट कंप्लीट हो पाया.